Comet Athletics are officially back here in the Lewy Lee for a new season and a new conference in 2025. The first action here within the Lewy Lee Fieldhouse is Comet JV Volleyball as they play host to the Royals of Lake Region State. Nick Plozard with you again. First JV volleyball match of the year for these Comets. They've already played 4 varsity matches. They sit at 2-2 after a split last weekend in Iowa. Again, they play host here to Lake Region in a JV matchup. We'll go starting lineups. First for Lake Region State, Katie Lease, a 5'6" sophomore out of Cartwright, Manitoba. Ann Strokeland, a 6-foot freshman out of Kenmare, North Dakota. Caitlin Erikstad, a 5'10" sophomore out of Webster, North Dakota. Madison Samuelson, the 5'7" freshman out of Sarles, North Dakota. Lexi Scherer, a 6-foot sophomore from Glenboro, Manitoba. And Sydney Schwabe, the 5'5" sophomore from Thompson. Your starting lineup there for the Lake Region State Royals. Now for your Comets, Kate Zadrill, the 5'8" freshman out of Winnipeg. Danica Hansen, local 5'7" sophomore from right here in Mayville. Whitney Rose Deva, the 5'9" junior from Hamiota, Manitoba. Cheyenne Johnson, the 5'9" freshman from Baudette, Minnesota. Michaela Olson, the 5'10" junior from Peoria, Arizona. Olivia Peterson, the 5'6" freshman out of West Fargo. And your libero is Megan Winters, the 5'6" junior from Jordan, Minnesota. Still a little under 6 minutes away from first serve. I believe the Comets will be serving first, if I heard right when I was down at the scorer's table. Lake Region back to their locker rooms. Comets out warming up in the black uniforms. Libero wearing white. Let's take a break. First serve coming up shortly. All right, anthem's been played, lineup's been introduced. Update to the lineup for Lake Region. Tori Fee, the 5'4" freshman out of Devils Lake, is the libero for the Royals. About set to get underway here. First home action for the Comet Athletics in 2025. Stay tuned, Comet football will kick off their season Thursday night at Jerome Berg Field. Season and home opener, kickoff scheduled for 6 p.m. Pregame show will start at 5. Again, Comets in the black jerseys, the libero in white, Lake Region blue jerseys with white. So just about set for action here on this Tuesday night. Officials checking lineups, make sure everything is. Will step in for the Comets. Whistle blows. Servers up, and we are underway. The Royals, just like that, 1-0 Comets. Up at 1. Sydney Schwabe, Kayla Olson, and Kate Zadrill. Cheyenne Johnson, that's blocked at the net by the Royals. 3-1 Lake Region. Back to serve again. That one's up. By Mayville State, Michaela Olson in that one. That makes it 3-2. All Comets as they trail 3-2 here in set number 1. Yeah, the sophomore out of Webster, North Dakota. We'll have our first sub on the Lake 2 Lake Region. So the lefty serve from Sally Marcotte gets her first kill. 5'9" junior out of Glenboro, Manitoba, and she'll be back to serve. Comets trail 4-3 here in set number 1. It was Marcotte again, but it's going to go back in for Mayville State. It's Lake Region here in the early goings. This will be Tori Fee, back to serve yet again, and that one's into the net, side out Mayville State, 6-4. The lead cut into. Kennedy Wire, the 5'5" freshman out of Lake Park, Minnesota, will sub in for the Comets. Out goes Michaela Olson, and it'll be Wire back to serve. So 6-4, Comets trail. On the attack comes the Royals. Big swing there from Lexi Scherer, and they're going to say that fell just in. It's a kill for Scherer, 7-4 Lake Region. Jory Alberg, the 5'6" freshman from Wolford, North Dakota, in for the Royals. She will be back to serve. Out goes Strokeland. So 7-4 Lake Region. Comets on the attack. It's Marcotte. A little too much power on that one as it sails too far out of bounds. 8-4 Lake Region. So back to serve goes the Royals. That one's played by Winters. Battle at the net, won by the Royals. They keep it alive. Schwabe on the attack. That one will fall just wide, they say. It looked like that might have fell in from my angle, but it's out of bounds. 8-5 now. Olivia Peterson, Ellie Marcotte back in for the Comets. Out goes Warner and Marcotte. So Olivia Peterson, West Fargo native, back to serve for the Comets, and that's just into the net, side out, 9-5 Royals. Katie Lease back in for the Royals. Out goes Leah Jacobson. Madison Samuelson back to serve for the Royals. They lead at 9-5 here in set number 1. That one played on an E by Mayville State. On the attack comes the Comets. That was Johnson. Nice diving save there to keep it alive. On the attack goes Lease, and that one will fall in for a kill just past the outstretched arms of Kennedy Wire. 10-5 Lake Region. Royals double their lead, 10-5. Samuelson serving for Lake Region. That one, nice diving save by Wire, kept alive. Hansen pushes it over. So 10-6, Comets cut into the lead a little bit. Megan Winters back to serve. As Comets look to cut into this lead as they trail 10-6 in set number 1. On the attack, arms of Fee, and it's 10-7, kill there for Johnson. Comets very young here on the JV side, a lot of freshmen. On the attack goes Lake Region. Lease It's kept alive by Winters. Hansen will push it over, try to catch Lake Region sleeping, but to no avail. Hansen will set up Johnson again. That one's blocked off the up official. Kill there for Johnson. She's got 2 straight, 10-8. Megan Winters back serving yet again. That one just clears the net. Played on a knee by Fee. Here come the Royals. That one's blocked at the net. No, they're going to say it just went into the net. Looked like it was blocked, but it was not. So point Comets, 10-9. They're back within 1. Winters on a roll here serving. Comets have crawled their way back in after trailing 10-5. 4 straight points for Mayville State. Almost 5 there. On the attack comes Fee, and that one's wide right, and we are all tied up at 10. So a solid comeback here for Mayville State. Ties us up at 10 as Winters continues to serve on a roll. And Winters, a junior out of Jordan, Minnesota. On the attack comes Lake Region, kept alive by Winters on a knee. Hansen will play it to Johnson. Johnson, big swing, played by Samuelson. Here comes the Royals. On the attack goes Lease, and that one's into the net, and Comets take the lead 11-10. 6 straight points for Mayville State. Gives them a 1-point advantage here in set number 1. Winters again back to serve. Winters, that one's going to be too strong, side out, back to the Royals, ties us up at 11. That'll bring in a few subs. Gabrielle Cormier, the 4'10 sophomore out of Grand Forks, in for the first time. And Jory Alberg, the 5'6 freshman out of Wolford, North Dakota. So Cormier back to serve. This hits that one, it'll be side out Michaela Olsen. Danica Hansen back to serve. The Comets lead by 1. It's roughly halfway point here of set number 1. Serve from Hansen is played by the Royals cleanly. On the attack they go. That one pushed over by Samuelson. That one's too wide. It'll be Mayville State point. 13-11 they lead. Comets on an 8-1 run here. The last 9 points scored. Hansen to serve again. That one's going to be too strong. Wanted to play it with Samuelson, but made the good decision to let it go. 13-12 Comets lead. And Strokeland back in for the Royals. Sydney Schwabe back to serve for Lake Region. That one played on a knee by Winters. Hansen will set up. Goes the drill, and she'll get the kill off the hand of a Lake Region player. 14-12 Comets lead. Ellie Marcotte back in for Mayville State, as is Afton Warner. On the attack comes Lake Region. It's Lease. That one's blocked at the net. Comet defense staying strong. They lead by 3, and we have a timeout taken by Lake Region. Comets on a roll here. 10-2 run, the last 12 points scored. They lead at 15-12 here in set number 1. Afton Warner to serve out of the timeout. Comets lead 15-12 here in set number 1 of this JV matchup. And Comet varsity 2-2 so far on the very young season after opening weekend last weekend. It's Lake Region on the attack. It's Strokeland, played by Winters. Hansen pushes it over, tries to catch Lake Region sleeping, and that one falls in off the hands of Schwabe. 16-12, Comets lead. Comet varsity will be back in action next Wednesday at Valley City. 7 p.m. serve from Valley City for the Comet varsity. So that one's going to be 4 hits on Lake Region. Point Mayville State, they lead 17-12, their largest lead of the night. Morgan Disrud, the 5'4 sophomore out of St. John, North Dakota, in for the first time tonight on the Lake Region side. Out goes Lease as Warner back to serve again for Mayville State. A nice dive and save there from Disrud, and she keeps it alive on the 3rd hit. Here comes the Comets on the attack. That was Zadrill, that one was blocked. Point Lake Region, 17-13. Leah Jacobson back in for the Royals. Out goes Disrud. It'll be Jacobson back to serve. Jacobson, the lefty, serves, played by Winters. Here comes Mayville State on the attack. Zadrill, little miss hit. Comets looked like they wanted a tip, but won't get it. 17-14, Lake Region leads. Jacobson, played on a knee by Marcotte. She'll push it over. On the attack comes Lake Region. It's Strokeland, and that one off the hands of Hansen for a kill. 17-15, Comets lead dwindling. Jacobson on a roll here, serving for the Royals of Lake Region. Serve from Jacobson, that one's wide left. Side out, 18-15, Comets lead. Sienna Gwynison back in for Mayville State, as is Whitney Rose-Deba, and it'll be Gwynison back to serve. Serve played by Fee, saved by Strokeland, pushed over by Schwabe. Here comes Mayville State on the attack. It's Marcotte, played by Fee. Here comes Lake Region. Nice diving save there in the back by Gwynison. Long rally going here. A little bit of miscommunication, but kept alive by Fee. Nice play there by the Royals libero. On the attack goes Mayville State. That one hit by Olsen. Now back comes Lake Region. Samuelson off of Hansen into the crowd, and it's a kill for Samuelson, 18-16. Your score here in set number 1. Lexi Scherer back in for the Royals, and it'll be Tori Fee back to serve. Serve played by Winters. On the attack, nice play there by Michaela Olsen for the kill. She found an open spot. Little flick of the wrist there and falls in for the kill. 19-16, Comets lead. Kennedy Wire back in for Mayville State. Lake Park native back to serve. Serve played by Samuelson. On the attack comes the Royals. Samuelson will find open space for the kill. Nice play there. 19-17, your score. Back to serve for Lake Region, Jory Olberg. That one played by Winters. Hansen will set up Marcotte. That one kept alive by Olberg. On the attack goes Samuelson, played by Warner. We play on. Warner hits it out of bounds. 19-18, Comet lead back down to 1. This will be Olberg to serve yet again. One played by Winters. Hansen tries to push it over, played by Fee. Here come the Royals. Big swing there from Scherer off of Wire, and it's a kill for Lake Region. We're all tied up. Peyton Richter, coach here for the Comets, wants a timeout. She'll get it. So we're all knotted up at 19 in the later stages of set number 1. Both teams out of the timeout. We're all knotted up at 19 here in set number 1 between the Comets and the Royals. Jory Olberg still serving for Lake Region. Serve played by Winters. Hansen will set up Marcotte. Played on a knee there, and back come the Royals. On the kill there for Lake Region, Lexi Scherer, and they have their first lead in a while since it was 10-5. They lead 20-19. So Alberg serving yet again. Royals on a run here. They lead by 1. Hansen tries to catch Lake Region sleeping, but to no avail. Here comes Samuels. Bring in Olivia Peterson. And Cheyenne Johnson for the Comets. It'll be Peterson back to serve. And all knotted up at 20 here in set number 1. Serve played on a knee by Fee. Here comes Lake Region. It's Samuelson, played by Winters. Hansen will set up Johnson. That one blocked at the net, but kept alive. Nope, it won't. Nice effort there from Lake Region, but to no avail. 21-20, Comets take the lead. So Peterson to serve yet again for the Comets. That one played by Fee. On the attack comes Lake Region. It's Samuelson. That one big swing there. Able to find empty space, knocks us back up, 21 all. Katie Lease in for Lake Region, and it'll be Samuelson back to serve. Kind of started to go back and forth here in the later stages of set number 1. That'll fall in the ace for Samuelson. Royals back up in front, 22-21. Samuelson to serve again. Played by Peterson. Here comes the Comets. Big swing and a kill there for Whitney Rose-Deba. Knots us up at... Back to serve goes Megan Winters for the Comets. Again, all knotted up at 22. Winters serve, played on a knee. Here comes the Royals. Big swing there from Scheer, kept alive. Now on the attack goes Mayville State. By Peterson, we play on. The attack, Lease, that one deflected at the net. We're gonna have a net violation called on Mayville State. It'll be 20. So Lake Region by 1, 23-22 here in set number 1. From here to serve, played by Wire. Here comes Mayville State. Is Johnson, that one's blocked at the net, and we're at set point here for Lake Region, 24-22. So set point for Lake Region out of the timeout. They lead 24-22. Gabrielle Cormier. Back goes Mayville State. Miss hit out of bounds. And just about set here for set number. I think Comet Varsity 2-2 on the young season after opening weekend last weekend down today at Valley City. First serve set for 7 p.m. Ball will start their season here at home Thursday night against Judson. Kickoff scheduled for 6 p.m. Pregame show will start. Side, no, check the Lake Region side of things. Looks like we're all good to go as the libero feet number 2. Schwabe back deep to serve, whistle blows, and set 2 is underway. Played by Winters. On the attack comes Mayville State. It's Olsen. That one tipped at the net. Nice save there by Fee to keep it alive. Here comes Lake Region. That one's blocked at the net. Cheyenne Johnson, Brooklyn Wires in on that one. 1-0 Mayville State. Also been Lexi Hafe for the first time, the 5'7" freshman out of Barnesville, Minnesota on the Mayville State side. Afton Warner back in there. She'll be back to serve. Comets lead at 1-0 here in set number 2. Warner serve, played cleanly. Here comes Lake Region. Big swing there from Strokeland, but too strong out of bounds. Comets lead at 2-0. Warner will stay in to serve. Played cleanly by Lease. Here comes Lake Region. Lease mishit there. Might have been deflected. Either way, point Mayville State. 3-0 they lead. Warner to serve again. Goes right after Lease. Here comes Lake Region. Strokeland. That one deflected. Kept alive by Hansen. Olsen. Big swing there. Kept alive. Here comes Lake Region. That one is deflected into the net. Comets unable to keep it alive. 3-1. Looked like that was Strokeland in on the kill for Lake Region. In comes Leah Jacobson. Out goes Katie Lease. It'll be Jacobson back to serve. Comets lead 3-1 here in set number 2. Jacobson serve into the net, side out, back to Mayville State. 4-1 they lead. Whitney Rose Deva back in for Mayville State, as is Sienna Gwinison. And Gwinison back to serve. On the attack comes Lake Region. It's Strokeland, kept alive. Gwinison able to save it. Hansen has to play it over. And here comes Lake Region. On the attack was Erikstad, played by Hansen. They're in on the kill from Mayville State. Michaela Olsen, the Arizona native. 5-1 Mayville State leads. Comets out to an early lead here in set number 2. They're dropping set number 1, 25-22. It's Olsen to serve. Excuse me, that was Gwinison on the serve. On the attack comes Lake Region. Whistle blows as we're going to have a net violation called on the Comets. So 5-2. Back to serve goes Tori Fee. Winters back in for Mayville State, as is Whitney Rose Deba. On the attack comes Mayville State. It's Olsen again. That one deflected out of bounds. Kill for Olsen. 6-2, Comets lead. So the Comets serve. Looks like there's a little bit of a mix-up there. And we'll have another sub. Ada Pearson in for the first time, the 5'2" freshman out of Carlstad, Minnesota. So Pearson back to serve, her first action of the night. Freshman serve, played on a knee. Here comes Lake Region. On the attack, it's Samuelson, kept alive by Pearson. Here comes Mayville State, it's Hafe. And that one deflected, and it's a kill for Hafe. Comets lead 7-2. Pearson back to serve yet again. Comets lead by 5 here in set number 2. That one played by Jacobson, kept alive by Fee. Pushing it over is Samuelson, right to Pearson. Hansen pushes it over and is able to catch Lake Region sleep, and it's 8-2 Mayville State. Good heads-up play there from the sophomore Hansen. That pushes the Comets lead to 6. Pearson on a roll here serving. Now will be an ace. First ace of the set for the Comets belongs to Ada Pearson. They lead 9-2. Serve from Pearson, played on the knee by Lease. Here comes Lake Region, miscommunication, missed-time jump there, and it's 10-2 Mayville State, and Lake Region wants a timeout. They'll get it. Comets out to a big lead here early on, set number 2. They lead it 10-2. 10-2 Comets lead, approaching the midway set point here of set number 2. Lake Region took the first set 25-22. So Comets looking to pick up that first win of the night and even us up at 1 set apiece. Ada Pearson still serving for Mayville State. She's been on a roll here. That one played by Fee. Here comes Lake Region. On the attack was Shearer. That one blocked at the net. Kept alive though by the Royals. And that one blocked again. It was Hanson in on the block. It's 11-2 Comets. So Pearson serving yet again. That one kept alive by Strokeland. Back row attack from Jacobson is too strong. Comets up by 10 now, 12-2. Katie Lease back in for Jacobson on the Lake Region side. Pearson still serving. Comets have ballooned this lead out to 10. One played by Lease on a knee. Here comes the Royals. Scherer kept alive by Pearson. Hanson behind her head kept alive by Samuelson. Here comes Lake Region on the attack. It's Strokeland. That one deflected out of bounds, and that'll end the run of Comet points. 12-3 the score now. Jory Alberg in for the Royals. She'll be back to serve. Comets lead at 12-3 here in set number 2. Serve kept alive by Winters. Big swing there from Rose Deba, but out of bounds. 12-4. Lake Region on a little run here. So they look to cut into that lead. 12-4 Comets lead. Big serve kept alive by Winters. Hanson will play it to Olsen. Nice diving save there from Strokeland, but to no avail as it falls in. 13-4. Good hustle there on the Lake Region side, but just ran out of room. Olivia Peterson. Cheyenne Johnson back in for Mayville State. It'll be Peterson to serve. See an official timeout on the floor for Peterson to tie her shoe. Now we're good to go. 13-4 Comets lead. Serve from Peterson. Played by Alberg. That one into the net. Point Mayville State. 14-4 as that one was misplayed off the hand of Sydney Schwabe. Comets back up by 10, 14-4. Peterson serve. Played by Alberg. Kept alive. Back row attack from Lease. Kept alive by Peterson. Here comes Mayville State. It's Johnson. Little touch pass over. Kept alive. Fee from the back row, too strong, out of bounds. 15-4, Comets lead. Comets' largest lead of the night by 11. Peterson to serve, goes right after Fee. Played the Lease. On the attack goes Samuelson. Nice sliding save there from Winters on the Mayville State side. Played it over to Johnson. Kept alive by Fee. Here comes Samuelson, that one off of Winters' hands. Hustle from Peterson, dives but can't get to it, and it's 15-5. Good hustle there from Peterson, but just out of her reach. Gives the ball back to Lake Region as Madison Samuelson back to serve. Played by Pearson. Here comes Mayville State, and a miss set there. Gets the lead back under 10, 15-6, Comets lead. So Samuelson to serve yet again. Go right at Peterson, played cleanly. Here comes Mayville State. That was Rose Deba, hit it, kind of off the side of her hand. 15-7, Comets advantage. So 3 straight points here for Lake Region. Makes it an 8-point Comet advantage. Samuelson to serve. That one played on a knee by Pearson. Here comes Mayville State as Johnson, big swing, kept alive in the back by Samuelson, pushed over by Schwabe. Kept alive, big swing, Johnson blocked to the net, but kept alive by Peterson. Hanson pushes it over, played by Fee. Here comes Lake Region, that's Shearer. Nice diving save from Pearson in the back. Hanson goes back corner, but kept alive by Samuelson. A good volley going here, big swing from Lease. Too strong, out of bounds, point Mayville State. 16-7. We'll bring in Brooklyn Wires back in for Mayville State. It'll be Megan Winters back to serve for the Comets. Serve from Winters. Played by Samuelson. Here comes Lake Regions. It's Shear. Played by Winters in the back row. Off the Raptor. Kept alive by Pearson. Hansen pushes it over. Almost hit the face of Alberg. Big swing there. Deflected but falls in for the kill for Lake Regions. 16-8. Cormier and Eriksted back in for Lake Region. It'll be Cormier back to serve. Comets lead at 16-8 here in set 2. Lake Region took the first set 25-22. Serve from Cormier. Nice diving save from Peterson. Hansen tries to dive but can't get to it, and it's an ace for Cormier, 16-9. So Lake Region crawling their way back into this one. Comets led by as much as 11 early on. The lead cut down to 7. Pearson to Peterson to Johnson. Mishits it. 16-10. We're going to get a timeout taken on the Mayville State side as Lake Region has crawled their way back into this. Comets lead it though, 16-10 here in set number 2. Comets lead here in set number 2. Cormier for Lake Region back to serve. Played by Peterson. On the attack comes the Comets. It's a drill. That one deflected. I know we're going to say it was out of bounds, not deflected. 16-11. It looked like from my angle it was deflected, but officials say it wasn't. So 16-11. Cormier serving yet again for Lake Region. Battle at the net, won by Lake Region. Hansen plays it to Wires, pushed over by Peterson, played in the back by Samuelson. Here comes Lake Region. Big block at the net there. That was Cyan Johnson. In on the block, 17-11 Comets lead. Kayla Olson back in for Mayville State. Tori Fee back in for Lake Region. Back to serve for the Comets is Danica Hansen. Hansen to serve. Comets lead by 6, 17-11. Battle at the net, won by Lake Region. Played over Olsen, over her head. And on the attack comes Lake Region. It's Lease, blocked at the net yet again. That was Wires. Comets lead at 18-11. Hansen to serve. Low serve, clipped the top net, kept alive by Lake Region. Battle won by Sydney Schwabe of the Royals, and she gets the kill, 18-12. So it'll be Schwabe to serve. And Strokeland back in for the Royals. Schwabe's serve, played by Winters. Hansen, miss set. That falls in, 18-13. Lake Region back within 5. So some mistakes here from the Comets late in this one. They've seen their 11-point lead dwindle down to 5. Winters plays it cleanly. Hansen will set up for Olsen. That one is way too strong out of bounds. It's 18-14. So Schwabe to serve for the Royals. That one played by Peterson. Hansen pushes it over. Nice sliding save there from Fee. On the attack comes Lake Region. That one tipped over the net. We're going to have a net violation called on Lake Region. It's 19-14. Afton Warner and Lexi Hafe back in for the Comets. Warner back to serve. Comets lead by 5. Serve played by Samuelson. On the attack comes Lake Regions. It's Strokeland. Nice play there by Winters to keep it alive. Olsen just pushes it over. Back we go with Lake Region. On the attack, Strokeland again, blocked. Diving attempt there from Warner, but to no avail, 19-15. Comets still hanging on to that lead. As in to serve for the Royals is Leah Jacobson. Jacobson, the lefty. Whistle blows, and we have a violation on Mayville State being out of rotation. 19-16 the score. So Comets now only lead by 3. Jacobson to serve for the Royals. On the attack comes Mayville State. It's Olsen. Tries to go back corner and falls in. Nice play there to find the open space for a kill. 20-16, Michaela Olsen in there on the kill for the Comets as Sienna Gunnison comes in for Mayville State. So Gunnison to serve. Comets lead 20-16. Late stages here of set number 2. Played cleanly by Jacobson. On the attack comes the Royals. It's Samuelson, played on a knee by Warner. Push it over for the kill. Mayville State, that was Warner. 21-16, Comets lead. Back to serve, Gunnison again. Played by Fee. On the attack comes Lake Region. It's Strokeland. That one blocked at the net. That was Rose Deba. 22-16, Comets lead. Comets been playing a SWAT team here as of late in the second half. Bunch of blocks. They lead at 22-16. Gunnison to serve yet again. Low serve. Nice diving save there from Jacobson to keep it alive. Fee has to push it over. Off the fingertips of Hansen. Comets got to get it over. And that one pushed too strong though by Hafe. 22-17. Let's give the serve back to Lake Region. Brooklyn Wires back in. Excuse me. Megan Winters back in. I was looking at the wrong number. Tori Fee back to serve for Lake Region. On the attack comes Mayville State. It's Rose Deba. That one falls in for the kill. 23-17, Comets lead. Ada Pearson in to serve for the Comets. Pearson serve, played by Fee. On the attack comes Lake Region. It's Scherer off of Winters, a big save there. Pushes it all the way back over the Royals sideline. And Scherer able to find space in the back corner for the kill. 23-18 the score. Jory Alberg back in for the Royals. She'll go back to serve. The Comets lead by 5. Serve played by Winters. Hansen pushes it over, but a little too wide right. Point Lake Region, 23-19 the score. On the attack comes Mayville State, setting it up for Rose Deba. And it's a kill for Rose Deba. Set point for the Comets. They lead 24-19 here in set number 2. Olivia Peterson back in, as is Cheyenne Johnson for the Comets. So set point, 24-19. Peterson to serve. Serve played by Fee to Scherer. To Samuelson, kept alive. Hansen pushes it over, kept alive, and it will go out of bounds. The Comets take set number 2 by a score of 25-19. That knots us all up at 1 set apiece as we move on to set number 3 here in the Lewy Lee. All knotted up, one set apiece here as we move on to set number 3 between the Royals of Lake Region and the Comets of Mayville State. Lake Region took set 1 by a score of 25-22. Comets bounced back in set 2, 25-19. Right side of the court proving to be the lucky side. Both teams picked up a win on that side. We'll see if the Comets can break it and pick up a win here on this side of the floor. And varsity home opener will be next Friday night. Varsity sits 2-2 on the young season after starting their season in Iowa this past Friday and Saturday. Comet football will kick off their season here at home Thursday night against Judson. Kickoff scheduled for 6 p.m. from Jerome Berg Field. Next varsity action for this volleyball squad will be Wednesday in Valley City. So Danica Hansen back to serve for the Comets. All tied up, one set apiece. Set number 3 about ready to get underway. Hansen serve, played by Samuelson. Set number 3 underway. On the attack is Katie Lease, and she gets the kill. 1-0 Lake Region. It'll be Sydney Schwabe back to serve. That one played by Johnson. On the attack goes Olsen, kept alive by Schwabe. Fee plays it cross court to Lease. Lease way too strong. Ties us up at 1 apiece here in set number 3. Afton Warner, Ellie Marcotte in. Warner back to serve, all tied up 1 apiece. Warner's serve, played by Samuelson. On the attack goes Lease again, too strong. Comets take the lead 2-1. Warner to serve again. Comets lead it 2-1 here early on in set 3. Samuelson plays it to Schwabe. On the attack was Erikstead, kept alive. Winters setting up Olsen. Big swing there, kept alive by Schwabe. On the attack goes Lake Region. It's Strokeland able to get it past the outstretched arms of Warner. In for the kill, ties us up at 2. Leah Jacobson back in to serve for Lake Region. Jacobson's serve off the top of the net, kept on alive on a slide by Marcotte. Big block at the net there. That was Madison Samuelson for Lake Region, and it's 3-2 Royals. Jacobson back to serve. Royals leading by 1, 3-2. On the attack comes Mayville State. It's a drill. Blocked but kept alive. Hansen pushes it over, played by Schwabe. Fee will set up Strokeland. That one deflected. It'll be a kill for Strokeland, 4-2. Lake Region leads here. So again, that right side of the floor, the lucky side here tonight. Jacobson to serve, played by Winters. Hansen, miscommunication there as to who that was for, and it's hit into the net, 5-2 Lake Region. Lake Region out to an early lead here in set 3. Jacobson to serve. On the attack goes Mayville State. That one just gets over the net for Hansen as that falls in, 5-3. Seen Hansen do that quite a bit tonight. The little tap over her head trying to catch Lake Region sleeping, and that one just enough to flip over the net as Sienna Gwennison subs in for Mayville State. She'll be back to serve. Comets trail by 2, 5-3. Gwennison, jump serve, played in the back row cleanly. On the attack is Lake Region, and that one mishit by Strokeland, and it's 5-4. So the Comets have crawled their way back in, now trailing by 1. Gwennison, jump serve again. That one's going to be way too strong out of bounds. Side out back to Lake Region, 6-4. Kate Zadrill in for Mayville State, and she'll sub out immediately for the libero Megan Winters. Tori Fee, the libero, back to serve for Lake Region. On the attack comes Mayville State. It's Whitney Rose-Deba, and she gets the kill off the deflection. 6-5. Comets back within 1. I'll bring in Ada Pearson. Proved to be the lucky charm serving in set 2. Helped spark Comets on their big run to jump out to that big lead there in set number 2. And she's back to serve here with Comets trailing by 1. Fee will play it. On the attack comes Lake Region. It's Scher, played by Pearson. Hanson will set up Marcotte, and she'll find open space for the kill and ties us up at 6. So 6-6 the score here in set number 3. Pearson's serve, played by Samuelson. Samuelson on the attack, and she finds open space for the kill. Lake Region back out in front, 7-6. Back to serve for Lake Region, Jory Alberg. Royals lead at 7-6. Alberg serve, played by Winters. Hanson will set up Rose-Deba. Kept alive, nice play there by Jacobson. Plays to Schwabe, who pushes it over. Back we go with Maple State. Hanson again, too strong, wide left. 8-6, the Royals lead. Serve there from Alberg, back to Maple State. Battle at the net, kept alive. Pearson pushed over. Thought maybe that might have been 4, but I guess not. Big swing there from Samuelson, kept alive by Pearson. On the attack goes Marcotte, kept alive by Fee. Samuelson hits it into the net. Point Mayville State, 8-7, they trail. A couple big swings there on either side, kept alive by some nice defensive plays. Olivia Peterson. Cheyenne Johnson back in for the Comets. The former Peterson back to serve. Peterson serve, played by Fee to Schwabe. On the attack, Samuelson, kept alive by Pearson. Hanson will push it over. On the attack, and a hit there off the hand of Scher by the Royals, and knots us up at 8. Keep serve with the Comets. Serve from Peterson, played by Fee again. To Schwabe. On the attack, Scher, and that falls in for the kill. 9-8, Lake Region back out in front. Good crowd on hand here tonight in the Lewy Lee for the Tuesday night JV volleyball combination. Happy to have athletics back here at home. Samuelson back to serve for Lake Region. They lead it by 1, 9-8. Hanson pushes it over. Nice play there by Fee to keep it alive. It's Lease on the attack. Saved on a knee by Winters. Pushed over. Nice save as Samuelson goes into the front row, but to no avail as that one went in to a couple of football players sitting down there courtside and ties us up 9-9. Then you can catch that football team in action here Thursday night at Jeromeburg Field for the season and home opener. Kickoff scheduled for 6 p.m. Winters the serve. On the attack comes Lake Region. Scher blocked at the net by Olson. Excuse me, that was Johnson. Then in on the kill goes Schwabe. 10-9 Lake Region. Kind of playing leapfrog with the lead here in set number 3 as Cormier in to serve for the Royals. Then 1-1 your score here in terms of sets. Lake Region taking set 1, Mayville State taking set 2. Cormier serve, played by Peterson, pushed over Hanson again. Nice save there by Alberg as she's able to push it over. Hanson to Zadrill, big swing there, kept alive. Playing on her backside is Alberg. Nice play there, kept alive by Samuelson. Battle at the net, rolls across the net, stays on the Mayville State side, pushed over by Johnson, and she catches Lake Region sleeping and ties us up at 10. Cheyenne Johnson on the kill, the Baudette, Minnesota native. Kayla Olson back in for Mayville State. Back to serve goes Danica Hanson. That serve from Hanson way too strong. Side out, puts Lake Region back out in front, 11-10. Sydney Schwabe back to serve. Her serve played by Winters. Lake Region leading by 1 on the attack. Olsen, big swing, tip, kept alive by Schwabe. Back we go with Lake Region. It's Stroklin. Winters able to keep it alive. Hansen will push it over, and that one's too strong. Lake Region now out in front, 12-10. Roughly the halfway point here of set number 3. So Schwabe to serve again. Played on a slide by Olsen. Cross course, that was Olsen on the serve there on the attack. Nice diving save there from Hansen. Pushed across and deflected for the kill. 13-10 Lake Region. Schwabe still serving. Lake Region leading at 13-10 here in set number 3. Peterson plays it to Hansen. Cross court for Olsen on the attack. Big swing there, kept alive by Fee. There goes Erikstad, and Sheila is able to find open space for the kill. 14-10, largest lead of the set for the Royals, and we have a timeout taken on the floor by the Comets. Lake Region out in front here, halfway point of set number 3. They lead at 14-10. Lake Region leading it over Mayville State here in set 3 of this JV volleyball action. Sydney Schwabe to serve for the Royals. Again, all tied up at 1 apiece. Lake Region took set 1, 25-22. Mayville State set 2, 25-19 as that serve played by Peterson. Hansen will set up Olsen. That one deflected out of bounds. It's a kill for Olsen, 14-11. Afton Warner. Ellie Marcotte back in for the Comets. Warner back to serve. Warner's serve played cleanly by the Royals. On the attack goes Stroklin. Kept alive by Warner. Pushed over Olsen. Kept alive Fee. Nice play there. Battle to net. And the attack from the back row was Olsen, but kept alive by Lake Region. Now they're on the attack, and able to get the kill there was Katie Lease. They lead at 15-11. Leah Jacobson back in for the Royals. She'll go back to serve. So the Royals lead it by 4 here in set number 3. Winters plays that serve cleanly. Hansen overhead to Marcotte. Kept alive by Samuelson. On the attack, Stroklin kept alive by the Comets and pushed over. Samuelson played by Marcotte. Hansen pushes back corner. Nice touch there to find the back corner. 15-12. Comets cut into the lead. Sienna Gwennison in to serve for Mayville State. We have a timeout on the floor for Michaela Olsen to tie her shoe. She's good to go. Gwennison back to serve. Comets trailing by 3, 15-12. On the attack comes Lake Region, and miscommunication. It'll be a double hit on Schwabe. 15-13 the score. Gwennison to serve. Jump serve. Played by Jacobson. Battle at the net. And it's going to be point Mayville State as we're going to have a violation called on Lake Region. Comets back within 1, 15-14. Gwennison on the serve, played by Fee. On the attack goes Samuelson. Kept alive by Mayville State. On the attack is Marcotte. Nice diving save there from Jacobson to keep it alive. Samuelson blocked at the net. That was Olsen. Swinging attempt there from Jacobson to no avail, and we are all tied up at 15-15. Michaela Olsen having herself a night. So we're all knotted up at 15. Gwinnison, the lucky charm here for the Comets in set number 3 serve-wise. And just as I say that, she knocks it out of bounds. Broadcaster jinx on that one. 16-15, Lake Region back out in front. Lexi Scherer back in for the Royals. Megan Winters back in for the Comets. It's Fee to serve for Lake Region. 16-15, they lead. The attack, big swing there from Rose Deba. Kept alive Winters. Nice play in the back row. Olsen, tip, kept alive by Strokeland. Here comes Lake Region. It's Scherer. Off the fist of Warner. And it's a kill for Scherer. 17-15, Lake Region leads. Fee to serve. On the attack comes Mayville State. Kept alive, Lake Region, here they come. Big swing there from Strokeland, kept alive. Hansen pushes over back corner again. This time Jacobson was ready for it and keeps it alive. Has trouble getting back up, and that falls in as it was mishit by Scherer. 17-16, Comets down by 1. Ada Pearson will sub back in. Comets trying to break the streak of winners as both sets have been won by the team on the right side of the floor. Pearson to serve, played by Jacobson. Here comes Lake Region. It's Samuelson, blocked at the net by Hansen. Kept alive by the Royals. Blocked again. Hansen back corner, nice find there. Hansen ties us up at 17 all. She's having herself a night as well. So all tied up 17 all. Pearson back to serve. Comets haven't led in a while here in set number 3. On the attack goes the Royals. It's Scherer, blocked at the net, but falls in on the Comets side. 18-17, Lake Region back out in front. Jory Alberg in for the Royals to serve. Hansen keeps that one alive. Played to Rose Deba, kept alive by Scherer on the Lake Region side. It's Samuelson, kept alive by Pearson. Hansen goes opposite side, kept alive. Missed set there, blocked at the net by the Comets, kept alive by Lake Region. It's Samuelson, kept alive Marcotte to Pearson. Marcotte will push it over. Fee plays it to Samuelson. Scherer tips it, kept alive Pearson. Hansen will set up Marcotte, big swing, kept alive by Fee. Samuelson through the uprights of Marcotte off her fingertips and for the kill. It's 19-17 Lake Region. Alberg on the serve. Winters to Marcotte, kept alive by Jacobson. Here comes Lake Region. It's Samuelson. Nice diving save there from Winters to keep it alive. Marcotte on the attack. Diving save from Fee, but to no avail. It falls in. Kill for Mayville State. 19-18. They trail by 1. Ellie Marcotte with the kill there. That'll bring back in Olivia Peterson and Cheyenne Johnson. Peterson back to serve. Comets trail by 1, 19-18. Late substitution here for Morgan Dissard for Lake Region. Out goes Samuelson. So Peterson to serve, pushed over the head there by by Scherer, kept alive. Nice play in the back row there by Alberg. Here comes Mayville State. It's Johnson on the attack. That one's blocked at the neck, kept alive. And some miscommunication there from the Comets allows that to fall in. 20-18, Lake Region leads. Bringing Katie Lease for the Royals. Back to serve goes Dissard. This native of St. John, North Dakota. That serve, too strong. Side out back to Mayville State. They're back within 1, 20-19. Kate Zajurl back in for the Comets. It'll be Megan Winters back to serve. Comets pretty sure have not led here in set number 3. Serve kept alive by Alberg. Scherer on the attack. Winters kept alive as we have 2 players collide, Peterson and Hansen. This 21-19 Lake Region, they seem to be okay. That one could have been a lot worse than what it actually was. But it fell in for a point for Lake Region. They lead 21-19. Gabrielle Cormier back to serve for Lake Region, and that one will fall in for the ace just out in front of Winters, 22-19. Lake Region leads, and we have a timeout taken on the floor. We'll take it with them. Lake Region leads it 22-19. So 22-19, Lake Region leads it here in set number 3. They took set 1 by a score of 25-22. Comets bounced back in set 2, 25-19. So that is where we stand, 1 set apiece. So it'll be Cormier back to serve for the Royals. Server is up, played by Peterson. Hansen pushes it over. That one just over the net. In for the kill, 22-20. See if that went to hit the net. I don't think that would have fell in. Fee back in for the Royals. Danica Hansen back to serve for the Comets as they look to crawl their way back into this one. So they trail 22-20. Hansen to serve, played by Alberg. On the attack goes Lake Region, kept alive. It's Johnson for the Comets. She hit the side of the net, violation, 23-20, Lake Region. And Strokeland back in for Royals. Sydney Schwabe back to serve. Johnson plays it. Michaela Olsen in for the kill, 23-21. Comets not going away yet. Afton Warner in for Maple State, as well as Ellie Marcotte. It'll be Warner to serve. Server's up from Warner. Played on the slide there by Lease. Lease pushes it over, kept alive. Hansen. Winters plays it. Olsen. Whistle blows. We have a net violation called on Lake Region, 23-22. Olsen there on the kill. Comets back within 1. Warner to serve again. Serve is up. Played on a knee by Alberg. Here comes Lake Region. That one way too strong. Out of bounds, and we are all tied up at 23 apiece. And we have a timeout taken on the floor by the Royals. We'll take it with them, tied up at 23. Collins look to get out in front, 2-1. 23 all here in set number 3. Comets on a run. They've crawled their way back into it. It's Warner back to serve yet again out of the timeout. Serve a little short, kept alive by Samuelson. On the attack there was Lease, kept alive. And here comes Mayville State. It's Olsen. Schwabe able to keep it alive. Hansen will set up Marcotte, and that one falls in for the kill. Comets have set point, 24-23. They have rattled off 4 straight here to take a 24-23 lead. So set point for the Comets. It's Wander to serve. Schwabe will set up Strokeland, and that one falls in. We're going to have extra here in set 3, 24 all. Via Jacobson back in, as well as Samuelson. It'll be Jacobson to serve. 24 all here in set number 3, tied at 1 set apiece. Winters plays it cleanly. Hansen sets up Olsen. Kept alive, nice play there. Schwabe sends it over. Hansen back to Olsen, a little bit more power. Kept alive by Schwabe. Fee to Strokeland, blocked at the net. Jacobson pushes it over. Here comes the Comets. It's Marcotte. Big swing there off of Jacobson. Comets back to set point, 25-24. So they have subs again. Rosedeba and Gwynison back in for Mayville State. It'll be Gwynison to serve here, set point, 25-24. Serve from Gwynison, played in the back row by Jacobson. Here comes Lake Region. It's Samuelson. Kept alive. And here comes Mayville State. That one blocked, but falls in for the kill. Comets take set number 3, 26-24. That was Ellie Marcotte. Back-to-back kills to end it here in set number 3. Comets take a 2-1 lead. So we move on to set number 4. On to set number 4 here tonight. Comets leading at 2-1. Lake Region took set 1 by a score of 25-22. Comets take the next 2 sets by a score of 25-19 and 26-24. Comets 1 set away here from picking up the win this evening over the Lake Region State Royals. Officials checking lineups, making sure rotations are all set to go. See Olivia Peterson over on the sideline getting taken care of by the trainer. Hope she's okay. Probably after that collision with Hansen there in set number 3. Seems to be none the worse for her though, as everything's good to go. We're about ready to get going here. Set number 4 again. Comets lead at 2-1. So it'll be Sydney Schwabe back to serve for the Royals. Serve from Schwabe. Diving save there by Winters. High play off to Kennedy Wire, the 5'5" freshman out of Lake Park, Minnesota. On the attack, Lake Region kept alive. Hansen to Winters. Played back to Johnson. Battle at the net. Kept alive by Wires. That one falls in kill for Lake Region. Comets have a player by the last name of Wires and Wire. Not making my job easy. So 1-0 Lake Region. Schwabe back to serve. Winters plays it cleanly. Hansen misplays it. 2-0 Lake Region. So Royals out to a 2-0 lead here early on set number 4. Schwabe to serve. Played by Johnson. On the attack is Johnson. Hits it. 3-0 Lake Region. So a rough start here to set 4 for the Comets. Yet to get points on the board. Schwabe to serve, played by Winters. Hansen to Olsen. Kept alive by Lease. On the attack, Lake Region. That one blocked at the net. That was Brooklyn Wires. It's 3-1. All subman Afton Warner and Lexi Haft. Be Warner to serve. Comets trail by 2, 3-1. Fee pushes it over, played by Winters. On the attack comes Mayville State. It's Olsen again. That one deflected, and it's another kill for Olsen, 3-2. Warner to serve again. Comets 2-0 run here. Fee keeps it alive. Backside there was Lease. Battle at the net, won by Lake Region, and pushed over by Samuelson. Too strong out of bounds. It's 3-3. Warner to serve again, played by Lease. Here comes Lake Region. On the attack there was Erikstad, kept alive by Mayville State. It's Wires, kept alive. Now here comes Lake Region. Lease blocked at the net. Big swing there from Wires. That's in for the kill. We're all knotted up at 3. Brooklyn Wires gets the kill, the Earhart, Minnesota native. 3 straight for Mayville State. Schwabe setting up Strokeland. Big swing there for the kill. And we're going to have a violation as well. 4-4 the score. Leah Jacobson back to serve for the Royals. On the attack comes Mayville State. It's Wires. That one too strong. 5-4 Lake Region leads. Jacobson, low serve, kept alive by Winters, over the net and tipped over by Erikstad. I believe that's who it was. Yep, that was Erikstad. 6-4, Lake Region back out in front by 2. Jacobson serve again towards Winters, kept alive. Here comes Haft, and we have a whistle blown violation. I'm going to say 4 hits on the Comets, 7-4 Lake Region. Olivia Peterson, good news, back on the bench for the Comets after getting attended to on the train. Looks like something on her ear after that collision. That one tipped too strong by Hansen, out of bounds. It's 8-4 Lake Region. Jacobson still serving for the Royals. They lead 8-4. That one played by Hansen to Olsen, deflected. And that one will fall in for the kill. It's another kill from Michaela Olsen, 8-5. Substitution on the floor. Sienna Gwennison in to serve. And junior out of Glenboro, Manitoba, Canada. Comets trail 8-5. Serve played by Fee. On the attack goes Samuelson for Lake Region, kept alive. Hansen plays it to Haved, pushes it too strong, wide right, out of bounds. Point Lake Region, 9-5. Comes Brooklyn Wires for the Comets. Out goes Gwennison. Tori Fee to serve for the Royals. So they lead 9-5 here in set number 4. Comets lead at 2-1 though. Big swing and a kill there for Haft off the deflection. 9-6 the score now. That was one of the hardest hit balls of the night. Bring back in Ada Pearson for the Comets. Kayla Olsen will have a seat. On the attack goes Lake Region. It's Sharon able to find open space past the outstretched arm of a diving Pearson. 10-6, the Royals lead it. In comes Jory Alberg. Serve from Alberg, played by Winters. Hansen to Haved. Kept alive by Jacobson. Cross court to Samuelson. That one, gonna say it was just out of bounds. I thought maybe it was deflected. It looked like it was, but officials say no. 10-7, Comets back within 3. Olivia Peterson back in there, as is Cheyenne Johnson. It'll be Peterson back to serve. Peterson serve, played by Jacobson. Here comes Lake Region. It's Samuelson. That one deflected, kept alive by Pearson. On the attack there, getting the kill, Whitney Rose Deba, another kill to her name for the night. Comets back within 2, 10-8. Serve from Peterson, played cleanly. Scherer on the attack, she finds open space in the back side of the court. 11-8, Lake Region back out by 3. Katie Lease back in for the Royals. It will be Samuelson back to serve. And Comets leading 2-1 here over Lake Region. On the attack they go. Big swing there from Johnson, but way too strong as it almost hit the back wall in the air. Point Lake Region, 12-8. Peterson plays that one, kept alive by Johnson, sent over by Peterson. On the attack goes Lake Region. It's Scherer, kept alive by Pearson to Winters, to Johnson, is able to find open space for the kill, 12-9. Bring back in Brooklyn Wires. It'll be Megan Winters back to serve. Serve from Winters. Played cleanly to Schwabe, to Scherer. Blocked at the net by Johnson. Kept alive by Alberg. Sent over and kept alive by Pearson. On the attack, big swing again from Johnson, but too strong. 13-9, Lake Region leads it. Kaylin Erikstad, Gabrielle Cormier back in for the Royals. It'll be Cormier back to serve. Low serve, just gets over, kept by Pearson. Hansen tries to go back corner, but saved by Alberg. On the attack goes Lake Region. That one too strong by Schwabe. Nope, they're gonna say it was deflected instead, so point Lake Region. They lead 14-9. We have a timeout taken on the floor by the Comets. Lake Region leads at 14-9 here in set number 4. 14-9, Lake Region leads it here over the Comets in set number 4. Comets leading it overall, though, 2-1. So it'll be Cormier back to serve for the Royals out of the timeout. Serve from Cormier. Low, played by Peterson. Hansen over her head, kept alive. Cormier, nice slide. Does it stay in? Rolling on the net and under. Nice play there by Lake Region. Gives them a 15-9 lead over Mayville State. Hansen to Wires. Played clean on the other side by Schwabe. To Lease, way too strong, out of bounds. 15-10. Comets back within 5. It'll be Hansen to serve. Michaela Olsen back in. And on the Lions side, Tori Fee back in. Hansen back to serve. Comets haven't had an ace in a while. And almost, nope, they will get one right there. The reverse broadcaster jinx on that one. 15-11 on the ace off the arm of Danica Hansen. So from Hansen, that one into the net, side out back to Lake Region, 16-11. This score holds, we'll be going to a 5th set. Comets looking to crawl back into this one. Ann Strokeland back in for the Royals. Back to serve is Sydney Schwabe. Winters to Hansen, setting up Johnson, another big swing, and that one finds the touch as well. 16-12, Comets back within 4. I'll bring in Afton Warner. Lexi Haft. Warner back to serve. I would say Cheyenne Johnson, probably the hardest hit balls of the night off of her arm. So finally found the touch, 16-12. That one's gonna fall in, that's an ace. 16-13, Afton Warner. So Comets back within 3. Warner again, played by Samuelson on the attack. Strokeland off of Warner in for the kill, 17-13. Leah Jacobson will sub back in for the Royals. She'll be back to serve. They lead by 4, over halfway gone here in set number 4. On the attack comes Mayville State. Cross court to Olsen, played cleanly by Schwabe. To Strokeland, that one deflected off of Hansen, in for the kill. 18-13, Lake Region leads it. Jacobson back to serve. Right at Winters again. Hansen plays it cross court. Swing there from Hafe, played in the back by Jacobson on a knee. Samuelson on the attack, deflected. Hansen keeps it alive to Winters. Back to Hafe. That one into the net. They're going to say it was deflected, though, kept alive. Olsen, that one deflected, rolling save by Jacobson. Strokeland on the attack. She finds space in the backcourt for the kill. 19-13. Lake Region leads it, and a timeout taken on the floor by Mayville State as they trail by 6 here in set number 4. Lake Region leads it here in set number 4 over Mayville. Leah Jacobson back to serve. Comets out of timeouts. So score holds, will be headed to a 5th and final set. Serve from Jacobson into the net, side out. Maybe that's the spark the Comets need. 19-14. Whitney Rose Deva, Sienna Gwynison back in for Mayville State. It'll be Gwynison to serve. Gwendison is a high arcing one, played by Jacobson. She'll play it now from the back row. On the attack comes Mayville State. Michaela Olson deflected. She'll tip it back, and that'll fall in as Erikstad had hit it once, so she couldn't hit it again, and it falls in for the kill. Michaela Olson gets the Comets back within 4, 19-15. Gwendison to serve, played by Samuelson. On the attack goes Lake Region. It's Strokeland, kept alive in the back by Gwendison. Back corner goes Hansen, and that one will fall in. Jacobson took a tumble, but she's okay. 19-16, Comets back within 3. Gwendison to serve, played by Jacobson. On the attack goes Lake Region to Strokeland again, too strong. 19-17. Comets, a little bit of a run here. They're back within 2. Gwendison to serve. That one just gets over the net. Played by Erikstad. Now will fall in. Call it an ace. 19-18. Comets back within 1. And Lake Region wants a timeout. Comets have rattled off 4 straight. They now trail by 1 here late in set number 4. Comets on a 4-0 run here. They trail by 1, 19-18 in set number 4. Gwendison still serving for Mayville State. Played by Fee cleanly. Schwabe will set up Strokeland, deflect up net. Dime saved by Hansen, but out of the reach of Haft, and that ends the Comet run. 20-18, Lake Region leads it. Brooklyn Wires back in. Then she'll sub immediately back out for the libero Megan Winters. Tori Fee back to serve for Lake Region. Now we call for a towel by one of the officials and dry up a wet spot on the floor. Very humid in here in the Lewy Lee during the fall. It's not an uncommon sight. See the floor have to be mopped up every once in a while. Wet spot dried up. We're about ready to go. Tori Fee back to serve. Lake Region leading at 20-18 here in set number 4. On the attack comes Mayville State. Big swing there. That was Whitney Rose Deva, and it's in for a kill, 20-19. Comets back within 1. That'll bring in Ada Pearson to serve. Comets back within 1, looking to tie it up here. Played by Samuelson. On the attack goes Lake Region. Share. Now here comes Mayville State. It's Haft. Big swing. Played cleanly by Jacobson. To Samuelson. Tip. Kept alive by Haft. Hansen pushes it over. Battle at the net. That one tipped back. And sent over. On the attack comes Mayville State. On the slide goes Rose Deba. That falls in for a kill. We're all tied up at 20. Good hustle there on both sides. Comets able to come out of it with the point. Comets looking for their first lead in the set for a while. It's Pearson to serve. Played by Samuelson. Played to Sherry. Miss hit into the net. Comets lead at 21-20. Pearson serve. On the attack, Strokeland. That falls in. We're tied back up at 21. Strokeland with the kill. That'll sub in Jory Alberg to serve for Lake Region. Alberg back to serve. All knotted up, 21 all. Hansen pushes it over. Played by Schwabe. On the attack, Samuelson for Lake Region. Kept alive by Warner. Haped on the attack, hit way too strong, out of bounds. Puts Lake Region back out in front, 22-21. Lake Region wins this one. We'll go to a fifth and final set. Mayville State wins it. They'll take it 3-1. Alberg to serve, played by Winters. Hansen on the attack goes Rose Deba. Played cleanly on the other side. Samuelson blocked at the net, kept alive by Fee. Samuelson again will find open space, 23-22. Lake Region leads it. So Alberg to serve. Lake Region looking to force a fifth and final set. That one just gets over, kept alive by Hansen, pushed over Rose Deba, and that falls in. Comets back within one, 23-22, Whitney Rose Deba. So back in Peterson and Johnson. Peterson to serve. Peterson serve, played cleanly by Fee. On the attack goes Lake Region. That one's blocked at the net by Johnson, but kept alive. Hansen pushes it over, kept alive other side. Here comes Samuelson. That one falls in for the kill. Lake Region is at set point here in set number 4, 24-22. Katie Lease back in for the Royals, and it'll be Samuelson back to serve for set point. That one into the net. Comets catch a break there, 24-23. Brooklyn Wires back in. It'll be Megan Winters back to serve. And Comets down 24-23, still set point. One played cleanly by Samuelson. It's Scher, played by Peterson. Hansen battle at the net. That one tipped over, and they're going to say that was an inadvertent whistle, it sounds like, on the official's part. So we'll replay it, pretend that never happened. The official, I assume, was anticipating a 4-hit on Mayville State's part, and it wasn't because it was deflected at the net. That one into the net, and that'll do it here in set number 4. Lake Region takes it 25-23 to force a decisive 5th set here in the Lewy Lee, all tied up at 2. Move on to a fifth and final set here tonight, and what's been a good matchup between the Lake Region State Royals and the Mayville State Comets. Lake Region took set 1, 25-22. Mayville State took the next two sets, 25-19, 26-24. Lake Region taking set 4, 25-23. Looks like it'll be Mayville State to serve to start. Just kidding, I was wrong. It's Lake Region to serve. Sydney Schwabe back. We're set here to go. In set number 5, we're underway. Played by Peterson on a knee. On the attack goes Mayville State. Big swing there from Johnson, but block kept alive. Peterson has to just push it over. Excuse me, that was Olsen. Winters keeps it alive. Pushed over by Hansen. Kept alive by Schwabe. Fee to Lease. Kept alive by Hansen. Winters. Big swing there and a kill off the arm of Cheyenne Johnson. Comets up in front 1-0. Big swing there from the freshman out of Baudette, Minnesota. DeWanner in to serve. Marcotte in as well. Warner to serve. 1-0 Comets here, and that one side out into the net. Ties us at 1 apiece. We'll bring in Leah Jacobson to serve on the Lake Region side of things. First to 15 here in set number 5. They're all tied up 2 sets apiece. One played by Winters. Hansen setting up Marcotte. Big swing there as 2 Lake Region players collide, and it's a kill for Marcotte. 2-1. Comets back out in front. Sienna Gwynison, excuse me, in to serve. Gwynison back to serve. Comets lead at 2-1. High arcing serve. Played cleanly. On the attack comes Lake Region. Samuelson mishits it into the net. 3-1. Comets lead. Gwynison serving yet again. Comets leading 3-1. Played cleanly by Jacobson. On the attack goes Lake Region with Strokeland. Now back the other way, Mayville State. It's Marcotte, kept alive by Fee. Schwabe, cross court Samuelson. Played in the back row cleanly. Here comes Mayville State. Olsen, too strong out of bounds. 3-2. Comets still lead by 1. I'll bring back in Megan Winters. Tori Fee to serve for Lake Region. Low serve. Played cleanly. Here comes Mayville State. Olsen kept alive by Fee, saved by Strokeland and pushed over by Samuelson. On the attack goes Mayville State. It's Marcotte, kept alive by Samuelson. Cross court Strokeland. That one's deflected in for the kill. Ties us at 3 apiece. So 3-all here in set number 5 and a race to 15. Fee serve, played to Hansen. On the attack there was Rose Deva. That one off the Raptors, kept alive by Hansen. Comets catch a break there thanks to the architecture and sent over by Marcotte. Scherer blocked at the net. Marcotte on the block. Nope, it fell in, or you say a violation on Mayville State. 4-3 Lake Region. So a violation on the Comets puts Lake Region out in front, 4-3. Hansen, that one blocked off the hand of Rose Deba, pushed over, played by Samuelson. Here comes Scherer. That one deflected in for the kill, 5-3. Lake Region leads it. It's just out the past the outstretched hands of Afton Warner. So Fee on a roll here serving for Lake Region as they lead by 2 here in the 5th and final set. Hanson, cross court to Marcotte, played by Fee in the back. Jacobson will send it to Samuelson. Big swing there. That one off the fingertips of Hanson in for the kill. It's 6-3. So Lake Region up 6-3 on a run here. Low arcing serve, saved by Marcotte. Olsen blocked at the net. 7-3 Lake Region. So roughly at the halfway point here, and Mayville State wants a timeout. Lake Region on a run here as they lead at 7-3 in the 5th and final set. Seven to 3, Lake Region leads it over Mayville here in the 5th and final set of the night. Tori Fee been on a run here serving for the Royals. They've scored 6 straight. On the attack, Michaela Olsen sent over. Played cleanly. Strokeland, big swing. Too strong, no out of bounds. That stops that run. 7-4 now, Mayville State back within 3. Ada Pearson will sub in. She'll be back to serve. Serve from Pearson is into the net, back over to Lake Region, 8-4. We'll switch sides as that's the halfway point. So Lake Region in control here in set number 5 as they lead at 8-4. Thomas gonna have to crawl their way back here in this one. They want to walk out of here tonight with a win. Looking at the wrong roster there. Jory Alberg in to serve for Lake Region. So they lead at 8-4. Serve played cleanly by Pearson. On the attack, Mayville State, it's Marcotte, blocked at the net by Sher. Back to Marcotte, deflected again, but kept alive by Samuelson. On the attack, Lake Region, that was Schwabe, sends it over. Hanson over her head, now off of Samuelson, kept alive in the back by Jacobson and sent over by Fee, but too strong out of bounds, point Mayville State. 8-5 the score now. Peterson and Johnson back in for the Comets. It'll be Peterson to serve. Peterson serve, played by Alberg. Sent over as 2 Lake Region players fall over each other. Johnson tips it over, kept alive Samuelson. Up to Scher, that one off of the chest of Johnson in for the kill, 9-5, Lake Region leads it. Samuelson back to serve. Lake Region leads at 9-5. Low serve kept alive by Pearson, now kept alive by Rose Deba, but to no avail. Now fall in for a point for the Royals. 10-5 to score. Pearson plays that serve cleanly on the attack. Mayville State, Rose Deba kept alive, shared, tips it, Lease. On the attack, Mayville State, it's Johnson, big swing there, kept alive by Fee. Here comes the Royals. Lease played cleanly by Winters to Hanson. Johnson just taps it over. Fee able to keep it alive. Sher, big swing, hits it a little bit, but it worked out in her favor. Falls in for the kill, 11-5. and Mayville State will use their second and final timeout of the set. Lake Region 4 away from winning this one here as they lead it 11-5. Lake Region up 11-5 out of the timeout. It's Madison Samuelson back to serve for the Royals. Samuelson serve, played by Peterson. Hansen, Rosedeva, played by Samuelson cleanly. Pushed over, Schwabe, played by Pearson. Cross court, Johnson, big swing, blocked out of bounds. Kill for Johnson, it's 11-6. Comets will have to crawl and fight their way back into this one. Kate Zadrill in for Mayville State. Winters back to serve, played cleanly by Fee. Here comes Lake Region, Scherer. Nice dive save there from Winters. Cross court, Johnson, played by Fee. Again, Scherer on the attack. Played cleanly. Johnson on her back foot, able to get it off the deflection of Samuelson. Another kill for Johnson. She has back-to-back kills. It's 11-7. So 11-7, Lake Region leads it here in set number 5. Samuelson plays that serve cleanly. Scherer had the magic touch in this set. Played on the backside by Winters. Pushed over, Hansen, played by Fee. Scherer, magic touch, not to no avail. Blocked over the net. That was Danica Hansen on the block. Nice play there, and it's 11-8. So nice play there from Hansen. Keeps the Comets on this little bit of a run. It's 11-8. 3 straight points for the Comets. On the attack comes Lake Region. It's Lease. Nice diving save from Peterson. Hansen will play it to Johnson. He'll just bump it over. That almost fell in, but good save there from Fee. Off of Winters. Peterson hustling for it. Diving attempt. Good hustle, but to no avail. It's 12-8 Lake Region. Cormier and Erikstead back in for Lake Region. It'll be Cormier to serve. Cormier's serve, played cleanly by Winters. Hansen goes back corner, and that falls just in. Wow, what touch there from Danica Hansen. And it's 12-9. Kayla Olson back in for Mayville State. Lexi Scherer back in for Lake Region, as is Fee. So it'll be Hansen to serve for the Comets, down by 3. Played on the backside there by Schwabe. Nice play to keep it alive. Johnson able to keep it alive for the Comets and send it over. On the attack comes Lake Region. It's Erikstead, kept alive by Winters. Pushed over Johnson off the arm of Samuelson. Cross court to Lease. Played by Peterson. Hansen will set up Johnson, who's had the big swing tonight, and gets another one there. 12-10. Comets back within 2. Comets on a 5-1 run here, the last 6 points of this one. To cut the lead to 2. Hansen back to serve. Serve played by Alberg. On the attack, Lease kept alive. Hansen will set up Johnson, just pushes it over, played by Fee. On the attack, Erikstad, and that falls in for the kill. 13-10. That'll sub in Ann Strokeland for Lake Region. So it'll be Sydney Schwabe back to serve for the Royals. So 13-10, Lake Region leads it here in set number 5. Hansen over to Olson. He's been quiet as of late. That one kept alive by Erikstead, pushed over. And on the attack goes Mayville State. It's Olson again, kept alive by Samuelson. Cross court to Strokeland, kept alive. Olsen able to get it across. Behind the head to Lees. Nice diving save. Winters kept over by Olsen as we play on. Still alive. Hansen able to keep it alive. Johnson falls in. That's going to be a double hit on Lake Region, and it's 13-11. Great defensive plays there for Mayville State. Cheyenne Johnson finishes it with the kill. That'll sub in Ellie Marcotte, Afton Warner. Warner to serve. Comets down by 2, 13-11 here in set number 5. Good matchup between these two teams here tonight. Lake Region on the attack. That one in for Gunnarsson. We're at match point. Excuse me, that was Strokeland. I was looking at the wrong roster again. So Strokeland gets the kill. Match point for Lake Region as Leah Jacobson in to serve. 14-11 the score. Winters plays the serve. Queenly. Cross court to Marcotte. Played in the back by Jacobson. On the attack, Lake Region. Samuelson the swing. That one off the deflection of Hansen. Off of Winters, and that'll do it. Lake Region wins it by a score of 15-11 here in set 5, and they take it 3-2. Fun matchup here between the Comets and the Royals. Royals take it 3-2. That'll do it for volleyball action here until next weekend in terms of in the Lewy Lee. Then Comet football kicks off their season Thursday night at Jeromeburg Field as they play host to Judson University. Kickoff scheduled for 6 p.m. Pre-game show, our new pre-game show we're starting this year, will start at 5 p.m. here on the Comet Athletic Network. Volleyball back in action on Wednesday of next week as they take on Valley City State at Valley City. That game's scheduled to start at 7. They'll be back here in the Lewy Lee Friday, September 5th for their home opener against Montana Tech at 6. And next Saturday against Montana Western at noon. So until then, I'm Nick Pollard. Have a great rest of your night.